Okie dokie. So, flash image, right? Cool. Ambient image, and then window pool. I'm going to select all these. I'm going to zero out the sharpening because I want to do that last. And then I want to do my lens corrections. And then I'll set the white balance to auto for now. And then I will adjust temperature. And then I will bring the highlights down. Just a smidge. And this one's looking pretty good. I'm going to bring the highlights down so that red goes away. And then I'm going to do the same thing for this one right here. Perfect. And I'm going to bring this down so it's a little bit cooler temperature. Select all, edit in, open as layers in Photoshop. And we are going to be editing this image. So it's a basic image, not too special, but I'm going to bring the flash image down here. I'm going to make sure that the ambient exposure is on top of the flash exposure, and then our window pool is at the very end. So I'm going to set this to luminosity. Overall, pretty decent. Actually, I quite like most of it on here. I'm just going to add a layer mask. I'm going to bring in a brush. I'm going to bring in just a smidge of, maybe that's a little too strong. I'm going to go with 10% flow. And I'm going to basically just brush in the areas that I want. All right. Looks pretty snazzy to me. Window pool. This one's easy. All I just do is put it into darken mode. And a black layer mask. I'm going to use the pen tool. I'm just going to make a real crude selection. You could do this with the lasso tool, but I like the pen tool because it gives me the option to use curves. And then we're going to invert that selection, and that will apply it to our mask. Got a window pool in there. Now comes the old color correction. So let's go ahead and duplicate this, or merge visible, I should say. I'm going to start with the ceiling. The ceilings are usually the biggest problems here. I'm going to start with a real basic selection here. And then I'm going to go pass here. I'm going to call this ceiling, just so I have it. And we are going to continue that path. Awesome. Now I'm going to do the ceiling in a way that's a little bit different from everything else because I want to. All right, I'm gonna make that into a selection and Shift F6 1.5, and I'm gonna open up my replace color prompt, or not prompt, tool. You can get to this by going to image adjustments, and it'll be like the very bottom, replace color. I'm gonna select an area. I'm gonna change this to 5x5 sample, just so I don't sample any noise. Look at that. Now you can go crazy and go to like -100, but I typically go with like -60, and then I'll boost it around 10 or 15. Let's go with like 15. And then I will take my dodge tool, which is right here, O, and I will dodge in the ceiling. So it looks pretty snazzy so far. And now I just got to do the color. Color is a little bit weird here because we got pretty inconsistent color. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate this, and I'm going to make a swatch here, and then I'm going to average this out. Blur average. So that would be our wall color. And I'm going to pretty much use the old new layer, and I'm going to sample that. Don't need that on. And I'm going to, I don't want to select the ceiling, so I'm going to invert that selection. Set the layer to color. And we are going to paint this. All right. Cool beans. Most of the time you don't really have to be super anal with it. Nice. That looks really good. This looks too weird. I don't like the way it looks. Use that. Invert. And I'll just do that. Nifty. Cool, cool, cool. Looks good so far. I'm gonna make a new layer. And I'm gonna get rid of this thing. I don't know what that is. A little flare there. All right, what next? What next? What next? It looks pretty much done. I'm gonna go ahead and do my Nick collection. Oh, excuse me. Try it. And then I'm gonna add a couple points here, just to brighten up a couple areas that I feel are too dark. Take the saturation down on there. And put that one there. A little bit of contrast, maybe a little structure. This is a little bit too... Let me move this over there. Add a little structure, add a bit of contrast. I'll add one right there as well. Let's add one right here, just because. And actually, let me put it right there. Go ahead and click OK. That kind of balances it out. Quite like the way that looks. I'm going to open up my rulers. Let me change this to %. And I'm going to bring in the old transform dialog. And I think that's looking pretty snazzy. Go ahead and save this. There we go. That looks pretty good. 5-star. I'm going to basically just do a couple adjustments here. There we go. Got a little contrast. And a little sharpening. Mask it just a smidge. And a little bit of noise reduction. And I would call that a finished photo. Looks pretty good. And yeah, it didn't take too long, all things considered. Given that we had to do the ceiling, the coloring and whatnot. So that's the ambient. It's really nice looking. I like it. That's all I really got for you guys today. Sorry about the old. I keep saying the old. Sorry if I'm a little drowsy. It is 5 a.m. and I haven't gotten to sleep. So that's pretty much it. Take care.